share, comment, subscribe. Welcome to the show. Peace, family. The shadow illuminates from the soul. Knowledge yourself. You probably sitting on a pot of gold. Tell me in the chat, you think we from Africa? Really though? The wrong perspective will cloud your judgment. I mean, somebody could tell you somebody you wasn't. Pay more homage and less worship. You tired of being a pushover than be assertive. Politics is just an old ancient secret circus. It get deeper the more you go in below the surface. You gotta learn to heal the trauma, be your own savior. My old earth gave me birth to God, one with nature. I'm an American Indian, fight for the rights of my native land. I'm an American Indian, fight for your rights, fight for your life. Eastern Shore, Mississippian, down by the river. Black man, red skin, bunch of Indian givers. Real side of Shakur, prisoners of the war. Return of the matriarch, the return of the God. East side, muddy water, we indigenous tribes. Black Wall Street, I run a family business of mine. Straight out the gutter, word the mother, high chief on the rise. They read the Bible translation, but ain't reading the scribe. Keep it G, Cherokee, Gullah Geechee the gang. You know how it is, everybody got beef with the king. Turtle Island, we steppin', can't let them kill our connection. You know the mind and the tongue be the deadliest weapons. I'm an American Indian, fight for the rights of my native land. I'm an American Indian, fight for your rights, fight for your life. I am a real American, fight for the rights of my native land. I am a real American, fight for your rights, fight for your life. Doni Glover, here it go. Like, share, comment, subscribe.
Good evening, family. My name is Doni Glover, publisher of BmoreNews.com. Tonight, we have yet another edition of our Indigenous series. I want to thank you for your phone calls, your emails, your texts. We're getting calls from all over the country, and we are answering those calls, those messages. Here we try to continue to uncover the stories that history tried to bury. Each show, each episode, we peel back another layer, looking at who we are, where we come from, and how so much of our truth was reclassified, renamed, or erased altogether. Tonight, we're talking about stolen land, stolen legacy, the untold story of Black Native Americans who identify and property, whose identity and property were systematically stripped away. We've heard the stories from our elders. Grandma said we were Indian. But tonight, we connect those memories to the documents, the policies, the proof, or in the words of Mafia Shakur, the receipts. So get ready for another powerful conversation. I welcome to the stage my brothers. Harsh the Fourth, how are you, sir?
Peace, my brother. How you doing?
Outstanding. How was your day today?
Well, my day is amazing, my brother. I'm right here, man. You know, believe it or not, man, right here back Cahokia is right here.
Good stuff. All the way from Hawaii by way of New York City, Planet Wells. Good evening, sir.
Peace and blessings to you all. Good to see you. Good to see you.
How was your day?
Well, brother.
Excellent, brother. Excellent. Thank you.
Dreadlock. Jarastafari. Hannibal James.
Hey, what up with y'all?
What's up, soldiers?
Hey, now.
So you got your Detroit hat on.
Oh,
Yes,
yes, sir.
Peace.
all right. Good to see you.
How y'all doing?
All
Excellent.
right, brother. All right.
Planet Wells, what did you think of the last show? Big brother Avon Bellamy joined us.
I thought it was good. Very provocative show. He has a wonderful track record and in the community, and is a very bright, astute brother, and has love in his heart. And yeah, I'm with him.
What do you think, Hannibal?
Well, I really enjoyed the situation. I was really thinking about the AI film that he got going on. I was really interested in that. You know, and he really laid down some some elder knowledge. You know, so I felt him when he was talking, really.
I think Mafia brought out the point that while he may not fully embrace being from America, that aside, he has been out here fighting on behalf of the people nonetheless. And I think Mafia's point was that we don't have to agree on everything.
Right.
But like I said from day one, if all four of us in the car and Popo pull us over, they're not asking nothing else. They see four melanated men, 4 black men, whatever you want to call it. And so
absolutely.
You know, also I wanted to make this comment about the chat. We like the chat to stay civil.
Absolutely.
At my age, I'm not going back and forth with cats. And so, you know, make your comments, that's fine. But when it starts getting disrespectful in there, this ain't that party. This is not that kind of program.
It's unnecessary. It's unnecessary.
Right.
Because we got a lot that we agree on. And we should keep building on those commonalities, huh?
Exactly.
Right. Definitely.
Horace, what tribe do you claim?
Washita and Choctaw.
Planet Wells?
I'm still researching.
Okay. Hannibal?
Muskogee Creek.
Okay. I claim Blackfeet. And then on my mama's side, her daddy was from Puerto Rico. So I couldn't tell you what he all was, but I am looking. I know what street he lived on. I found that much. But that was back in 1944. Shout out to Tahonga and the other people in the chat.
Yes,
Horace, why don't you start us off tonight, man? We kind of cut into your presentations on, you know, your presentation time on the last one. Did you want to go in?
Man, I had put something together for my man Kemet TV. You know, remember the comment here left on the screen, man. Let me show and prove right quick.
And let me say something else. When Cat's got a lot to say in the chat, I put the link over there for them to come on because it seems, you know, some of the comments seem really profound and we welcome them on this platform. Everybody is welcome here. Everybody. We've even had a white guy on here. Not that we won't bring others or people from Haiti, people who might not be a part of the conversation overall. The lawyer lady, she's originally from Haiti, Natalie Pierre Lewis. Right. So everybody is welcome at this table, and that's what we try to convey.
Absolutely.
All right, here we come, bro. Yep, and I'm gonna make this brief. Here you go.
Big L, shout out to you.
Yes, sir.
When you first put this up, man, I gotta tell you, I was blown away. I was blown away that it's got Upper and Lower Egypt around Chicago. What is this?
Well, let me show you. Okay, so we know that the Nile flows north, and we know the Mississippi flows south. Now, I was looking at Top Cats the other day on Magic 363, and he was showing how everything originated from over here. So now, if you notice to my left, this is Africa, Egypt, and see we got Cairo up to the left. I got the arrow sort of pointing. So we got Cairo up here in Lower Egypt. Well, over here in America, in Illinois, we got Cairo in what they call Little Egypt, or which is the equivalent of Lower Egypt. So now here in Chicago, we got Big Egypt, where the pyramids sit right at the Calumet River coming off of Lake Michigan. And to the left, we got the Mediterranean Sea, where the Nile flows down, into, Egypt and, the rest of Africa. So now this arrow over here to the left is pointing at Lake Nasser, if that's how you pronounce it. So over here to my right, I got the arrow pointing at Lake of Egypt. Peace, Mafia. So I got my arrow over here pointing at the Lake of Egypt. Now, the word "of" in itself, there's only one Lake of Egypt on the entire planet, and this is right here in Illinois. So when you add the word "of" into a sentence, it connects the two words together. So now, why would there be a Lake of Egypt in Illinois? So this Lake of Egypt is a reservoir. The Lake Nasir is also a reservoir. So we recognize, you know, how these line up, and we you know, coming into the knowledge of what it is. And because if you guys recall, in 2024 there was a solar eclipse. That solar eclipse crossed paths with the previous solar eclipse of 2017, and that was in Carbondale, Illinois, which is also a Little Egypt. So now Illinois got a lot going on. They got the crossings of the solar eclipses. They got the biggest, the so-called biggest mound pyramid in Cahokia, which I'm looking out of my window at Cahokia right now. And then we have the Stargate on Rock Island, Illinois, and then we got Big Egypt in Chicago. So you know the secret is out. There's no more secrets. So, but I put this together for my man Kemet TV, you know, especially. So if he is watching, here you go, right here, Kemet TV. Yes, sir.
So what is the connection between this Upper Egypt and the Big Egypt, Upper Egypt, and Memphis? You know how it keeps going down south and you get into Memphis on down that Mississippi. Do you know any relevancy to that?
Well, yeah. Well, I'm saying it because Memphis is also, see, all of this is Kemet.
See,
you know, and Memphis is they right there on the Mississippi River, and that serpent energy and that memory that's in that water, it goes back millions of years. And they got the mound pyramids as well in Memphis as well. And see what they did is they made a replica of a pyramid that sits right there on the Mississippi, which separates them from Arkansas. So you know, we all connected, man. We have been connected through the Mississippi culture, you know, for eons, man. And the remembrances is coming back because the more that we remember, the more that the land wakes us up to remember.
I'm glad you said that because one of the things that I'd like you to touch on, you haven't touched on it in a couple of shows, but what you have said about the pyramids being covered up with trash, and how that disconnects melanated people from our ancestors.
Well, yeah, just like how me and Planet Whales were talking about the opening of the way, and I can never pronounce his name. What's his name? Planet Whales.
Schwala de Lewis.
So the way he connected man and the pyramids as one and the same, and our connection to the pyramids, they understand that information. Our ancestors built pyramids on ley lines and energy centers of the planet Earth, which is alive. So the solar connection and the universal as well as cosmic connection to the pyramids are also connected to us because we are the cream of the planet Earth. So now when they put this garbage and this gas and all this stuff in the pyramids, it sort of puts like a blockage up to the amount of information that we can be actually getting from the sun as it sends down those frequencies to the planet. It's no different from a satellite dish like DirecTV. No, you got the satellite that gets the information from the satellite in the sky, and those frequencies come down into the dish, and then it travels through those lines that end up going to the receiver, and it comes out through your television. They pass that, they pattern that after us, the indigenous people of the land.
You have also said on this show that when we are disconnected from the mound pyramids, we allow other people to connect with the ancestors.
Yeah, because the ancestors, they're feeble. You know, just like Mother Nature is feeble, you know, to the point that if you get in a boat with a hole in it, the water isn't going to have mercy on you because you're in a boat with a hole on it. And so it only does what it does. But Mother Nature, I mean, our ancestors don't know that it's not us calling on them, but these other people that's calling on them, they're binding them to the lower vibrations and they're using them against us.
Now, you know that's way too heavy for the average person.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if you say so, I think that man, the people, you know, they woke up. They can grasp that, man.
Hannibal,
I
you
truly believe they can.
agree?
Yeah, I agree with him.
Why?
Because I believe that is a certain vibration that people give off by the things they take in, you know, the things that they put themselves around, you know, places they go, things they eat, you know what I'm saying? So when he was talking about like receiving this energy, I started thinking about like having a healthy body to be able to receive this type of vibration or this type of download, you might say. So I agree.
Yeah. I mean, bottom line is we're all ignorant until we hear.
Yeah.
So everybody's equal. You know?
It happens every day.
Yeah.
It happens every day. It's in our everyday life. It's just, you know, it also comes with the genetics too. Peace to the family. It also happens in our genetics as far as in what is the family struggle or what is the source or what's the routine of the bloodline in which you embody and what's your purpose. Like, what is your service to the collective as not only as an individual, but as a collective.
Right.
We deal with it every day as far as in the people, like you say, the interactions, the food that we take, the music we listen to, what we spend time thinking about, what we don't think about. All of this adds up to what you are receiving or how you perceive the world, not just as what you're receiving, but your perception also plays a part too. It's like I made a TikTok about perception. It's like starving and fasting is two equal opposites of the same thing. So depending on how you perceive that and how you receive that is going to determine how you approach that to get to a ending.
Absolutely.
That's powerful.
Well,
that's powerful. Has anybody ever heard of the story of the eagle in the chicken coop?
Hey,
No,
you
sir.
feel it on that?
Well, somebody had took a baby eagle and he put it in the chicken coop.
Mm.
And he taught this eagle that he was a chicken. So you walk past and you see the chickens, you know how they do, man. They got their heads down all day picking up chicken stuff. So somebody walked past the chicken coop and saw this eagle and they said, "Hey, man, what are you doing? You're not a chicken, you're an eagle." So the eagle was arguing with him like, "No, man, I'm a chicken, man, and I'm like the rest of these chickens." And then one day, another eagle came past and said, "Here, let me show you something. You don't belong here, man. You're not a chicken, you're an eagle." And once that eagle found out he was an eagle, his feet never touched the ground again. So we're eagles amongst a bunch of chickens. Then they taught us that we were chickens, but we were never chickens, but we just haven't grasped what we really are yet. So they've been lying to us for all of these centuries and telling us that we're something other than what we are. But as we become more aware of who we are, it's a wrap for anybody who comes against us, man.
Absolutely.
Right, I agree.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
I learned a lot. I learned a lot as far as in even like Wells was saying, as far as in doing harm. It's like the way things are set up is to do harm to everything that we embody as beings. So it's we dealing with that on so many levels and avenues and generations and longevities of equal opposites, like how I was talking about the equal opposites and the different.
You making up shit now. You gonna stop that? I ain't never heard of no damn equal opposites in my life.
Equal opposites is not.
I ain't never heard that in my life, Mafia. Where'd you find that term?
Explain it to him, Mafia. Explain it to him.
Have you heard of it before, Planet?
Yeah. Explain it to him.
Where'd you hear of it, Planet?
The yin and yang is equal opposites.
Yes, sir.
You know that symbol,
That's
bro.
the two polarities of the same thing, equal opposites. It's the balance. It's what balances it out.
Starving and fasting are equal opposites.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
All depends on how you perceive it. You know, if you think that you're not getting nourishment, you're gonna think you're starving. But if you're looking for a higher spiritual self, you're gonna be all right with it. You get what I mean? It all depends on what you're looking to get out of it. Just like with anything. You know, man. So you could,
yeah.
Go ahead.
You could look at it in terms of temperature, right? So there's hot and there's cold, right? Opposites, right? Well, the only thing that distinguishes them are degrees.
That's it.
Right. That's it. So that
I can see hot and cold
there's an equality.
Opposites. I can see that. I can't see starving and fasting as equal opposites. They are the same thing, minus prayer or a spiritual component. If you said starving and gluttony, those are opposites.
Well, 400. Well, to piggyback off what Planet Well said.
That's what opposite mean. The opposite.
Yeah, 440 degrees Fahrenheit equals negative 227 degrees Celsius.
Same thing, right?
Same thing.
I'm just saying, I don't want us to just be throwing stuff out there.
No, but this is, but I'm speaking on, it's just like how most people think that hate is the opposite of love. Fear is the opposite of love.
Why can't hate be the opposite of love?
That's
hate is like a reaction to love, right?
That's
love
what I'm saying.
Is an action. Hate can be a feeling or an action. Love can be a feeling or an action.
But
when you love somebody, you're doing things that show care and sharing and concern and affection. When you hate somebody and you're acting in a hateful manner, you're trying to kill them.
Not necessarily.
Some people love.
I hear somebody else talking. Are there other people on the show?
Yeah, chill out.
Is that you, Mafia? You got people in? Bring them on.
Yeah.
Bring them on. I don't think it's fair that they shooting comments and we don't get to see them. Bring them on.
No, that's a fact. No.
Huh?
We're going to be quiet for a minute.
Well, now if they want to participate, let them participate. Mafia, what are you doing? You hoarding over there?
No, I ain't hoarding. No,
you don't want to let us know who you got over there talking.
Oh, no, they don't want to be on camera. That's the thing.
But I do know, I sent y'all that video in the group chat of that guy that went to the barbershop.
Yeah.
And was debating with those brothers in the barbershop about the black-white issue. I think he was in Charlotte, I'm not sure, as a response to that brother cutting that girl's neck on the train. Y'all familiar with that?
No, sir.
That video you were talking about, the guy, he was kind of explaining about a child and how the child was acting or something.
Well, he's the guy in the barbershop. Amongst he was a white guy in the barbershop, and he had his camera crew and a couple of more of his constituents in there with him. But they were discussing racial issues, in America, between the black and white. And there goes my theory again, man. We need a restraining order, man. These people are literally obsessed with us. You see what I'm saying? Out of all of the things they could be focused on, they're more obsessed with us. And I'm trying to see what is it that what are they trying to push? Because he was saying that the white youth are sick and tired, and that we don't want to see the white youth. And I'm like, man, what are you trying to incite with your rhetoric?
Yes, sir. It's the programming.
Yeah, see, we got a group of people that hate us, And I don't know what it is that that they're trying to incite, but man, I be, and sometimes I be like, damn, he talking to the wrong people. I'm gonna ask him, man, didn't you see what happened in Alabama? Or didn't you see what happened in upstate New York when the dude told the brother, man, I would kill you, and dude gave him the business on a platter. They need to stop it with that stuff, man, because but just piggybacking off of the love-hate conversation that was at hand, man, we got a group of people that hate us, and we have never declared them enemies.
But when you were saying that, remember Planet Whale's message about the love been really on my head for like the last few days. And I think that's how I think they don't like to see us loving each other or laughing amongst each other. The camaraderie we have. We don't even have to know each other, and we can just look at each other, smiling, and it's like we knew each other forever. And people be envious of that type of thing. There you go. So I just say that we just keep on loving each other, no matter what they say. We know how to respond to them. Whatever it takes, it's all is fair in war. You know what I mean? If somebody attack you, you got all right to defend yourself. But preliminary, try to do things with love, because with that type of energy and reacting the way they trying to get you to react, that's gonna just mess up your vibrations.
Well,
that's me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I'm with you there, but I remember a decade or so ago, a brother had wrote, I think it was a comic book called "A Right to Be Hostile."
Right.
If anybody has a right to be hostile, I think it's us. I mean, where's the repayment for Emmett Till, or the 11-year-old boy that they put in an electric chair back in the 40s?
Back in the 40s, right?
You see what I'm saying?
Correct.
Or the many people that they had burned alive while people were sitting around cheering, or the things that happened in Rosewood, or Tulsa, Oklahoma, or
the
Raleigh,
vibration, or the vibrations that they send on the daily,
or what's up with the move movement up in Philly.
Definitely, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So they I don't know, man, what it is that these people want, but I'm still with Noble Drew Ali. One day you'll see the European, you'll smell him before you see him going back to Europe in boxcars. Just get off Turtle Island, go do your own thing, and leave us alone so we can turn this into Wakanda.
Now what year did this move thing? This was in the 80s, right?
No, in the 90s.
In the 90s?
90s. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I think it was 94, if I'm not mistaken. So it wasn't that long ago.
Correct.
Yeah, it's all in order of the program. And like I say, the more we have discussions and communication about our stance, the stance that we should take as to who we are, and that the identification of that. How do we identify as individuals and as a collective? Because we all have individual movements, even us on all right here, we are in different aspects or different locations. You know what I'm saying? So to be able to connect from that as a whole source and embodiment, it's like when I think about the civil rights movement or the Black Panther movement, like these things were electric. You can feel it. You didn't even necessarily have to be there to feel the vibration of the energy of what the movement is. And I think us knowing ourselves and having this identity is important because the programming is on so many different levels. Correct. So even with those different schools of thought, we all could still come together as to what this is and what it means.
And I want to say something, although I don't necessarily agree 100% with the Hebrew Israelites, but I do agree with their intention and their sincerity.
Right.
So, if push come to shove, you do not want them brothers to have the swords in their hands. And also, one thing that I don't think that these people realize is that you don't want the YNs to direct their energy in the other direction. You know, but it's the hate is. I mean, how can you hate the people that have not shown you any hate after all of the atrocities over the years? So we do need a restraining order, man. We need one bad.
I think somebody made a comment and it's actually, did I know anything about certain families like the Hortons and the
there it is.
I know I got kin folks that's Hortons, and I know things about the Lewis. That Lewis last name is a provocative last name. That's kind of like the Stewart last name, so that goes back over to over in Europe, but it does have a history amongst the natives here too. So it's complex for me to pinpoint what it is, but I know that you're hitting it right on the point. And then the Hunter name too, I've seen that too, amongst like the Cherokee.
Yeah, I know those three last names from some families in Chicago. All except for the Hunters, the Hoods, the Hortons, and the Lewis.
Right. Yeah.
Go ahead, cousin.
I'm listening. No, I was saying all the names have colonizer lines and native lines where they mix the names.
Yeah, that's what we remember how we was talking about today. You after us talking and unveiling what happened with the tribes up north and how they was forced down south, we can see how these certain last names intermingle with these tribes. So it's like a what they call that thing when you're looking for a secret, but you got this secret code key that you gotta decipher to see what's going on. That's what we're dealing with. Yeah, we're dealing with this cipher that we gotta unscramble. Yeah, I'm from Alabama too. Yeah, what part of Alabama? So that's good. But one thing about Alabama, like I've been trying to tell everybody, was the last state that only has like 31 years of quote unquote United States history, and the rest of it is really the Muskogee fighting everybody or having relationships with other nations and stuff. I ain't saying that it was 100% abreast, but it was some foul things going on down there that I'm trying to fight right now. But it's just like knowing that if you got roots in Alabama, then you can find your ancestors. Just put it that way. You just got to do your due diligence and search, because it's like I said, it's 18 counties that got Native Americans that stayed there. And if you come from any of them 18 counties, you got records. Oh.
Did anybody see any of the videos of some of the events that were taking place on Indigenous Day?
Yeah, I caught a couple things happening here in Detroit, but I didn't catch anything, not nationally.
Me too.
You know, I wonder sometime, aside from the insertion of some of the paler skinned nations of Europe into the tribes, was it before the event of the colonial era, were our ancestors in this land such a loving people as we are today that we would just invite anybody to the barbecue, and as long as they come up, you know, with the peace sign up, man, come on, get a plate.
Wow. Those new rules. You can't show up at the cookout and you ain't bringing nothing. You can't bring nothing, but you can't only be bringing aluminum foil. We got new rules.
Yeah, you're not invited to the cookout neither, just because you know how to line dance.
They was bringing them rifles and that rum. You know what I mean? That's what they was doing, bringing them rifles and rums. Yeah, Montgomery. They got you got a decent history there, like in 1790s down there, Montgomery and Mobile. So you can find some history of some records. You got to look like in Shelby County and Montgomery County, but Shelby County down there will have your records. Yeah, the black belt.
Michelle Lump she shared that earlier today. She spoke with an African man who explained that during his schooling, the only history they were taught regarding slavery focused on Arabs enslaving Africans. Do you think that we have to broaden our understanding of slavery to better understand where America's story fits into the larger story? For instance, one thing that's never talked about are the white slaves, the white indentured servants. That is never talked about. Equally, what is not talked about are the black slavers, the black slave masters. And it blew me away when I first heard about a black man owning slaves in America, but it was not rare.
Well, the difficulty.
And I'm no expert on that piece of history, but I still find it fascinating.
Well, the difficulty is in the educational system. So it was set up to keep everybody ignorant of everything. So we know that the navigator on Columbus's journey was a Moor, right? And we
Alonzo.
And we know that there's a term called dirty Moor, right?
Big ups for Cheryl the Lump, y'all. She's always contributing to this show. Thank you.
So consequently, there are multiple people. So the phrase "all skin folk ain't kinfolk" is really apropos, right? So what we're trying to do here is raise the consciousness, and Horace is bringing some vital information in terms of the land, because he intuits and he feels the connection to the land as as a being, right? And there's a vibration with that. There's often I talk about walking on the ground, literally walking on the earth.
Connecting your feet to the land, to the grass.
Because the ancient people felt a connection to the earth as a living being. Okay? So human beings are one thing. There's planetary beings. There are planets that are beings. It's all life. It's all life, right? So there's a program set up to remove you from that connection, right? Now, why this is, or why they felt that, there are different theories about that, right? But there's a fear of that connection, and for them who are distanced from that, that represents to them unknown, and that unknown represents fear.
Let me get into Mafia. Mafia, one of the things you talked about after the last show was the unity that is demonstrated on this show. I touched on this a little bit earlier when you weren't here, but why don't you touch on the significance of this show?
The significance is not only the generational connections, the different connections of schools of thought, because we all come from a different background or way that we learn through the program. So we bring that together, and we might have different specialties or viewpoints, but we still come together as a full body. The five of us create five different organs that we vibrate. And we also have other people that come on the show and they add other specialties and organ aspects of what the full body that we present to the chat and to the viewers and to a collective of us as well. So the unity of us having the knowledge of who we are and what we are uncovering as to the history of who we are that has been skewed and savaged through, and we bringing that together to show and display how it was brought together.
Absolutely.
And how each part is pivotal. Each perspective is pivotal. and the different ways that we perceive that as well, because it's just like how you say, are we Hebrews, are we Moors? We all have a specialized mixture of everything, and different is all a melting pot. That's why they say America is the great melting pot, because this was the greatest mixture of all the totalities of the things that were separated and divided. And everything that's separated and divided is trying to come back together, but we have so much of that love, hatred, and fear mixture that keeps everything going. So the unit coming together is that we well, not personally, don't have degrees or anything to speak on these topics, but we have done research, we do comparative analysis, we do peer reviews to come across the information that we know from ourselves, and we share to come to greater conclusions as one.
So West Side, like in Montgomery is a county and it's a city. So I don't know where they do all their probate business. In Alabama, they do about a city called a county seat. So it's a city that's their county seat. But Birmingham, Alabama, they probably got the best genealogical resources in the country. They got all the census records and books by the southern states. So you can go down there and find it from Virginia to Carolinas, Alabama, Georgia, all the records in book form. Not, you know what I'm saying? So if you really want to get your hands on the files, and then they librarians is real good at pointing you into other directions. But I made a note. Horace said something earlier. He said, the earth is conscious. Have you ever heard of the phrase that you can't do nothing in the dark and come to light? Because the earth is conscious. Even though somebody's not looking at you, the earth is watching. You know what I'm saying? So it all depends on the person, on your level of learning. I guess we all here to learn something. And
I want to share something with you. Here's something we can all learn. There's an invention, a remarkable invention called a trash can. I watched this man today drinking a soda, and he just threw it on the ground. You ever see a pretty girl in a car and you like looking at her, next thing you know, she throws some trash out the window. You're like, oh man. Have y'all experienced that? Just nasty people that throw trash on the ground. And don't do it on my block. Oh boy, the neighbors be yelling out the window, hey! Nasty self. How about that? How about taking care of the water, man? We throw all these plastic bags and they end up in the ocean, and we killing the fish that we're going to have to eat. Yeah, the earth is watching.
I feel that. I've been a part of that myself. So once you realize how big the problem is and how small the solution is, you change those little things. And it makes a big and it plays a big part.
Here's a question for you, panel. Do you think racism will ever end in America?
Yeah. I think it's better than what it was when we was coming up. I look at my kids, you know, I got my youngest boy, he's 24, my oldest is 32, and their relationships with the other races is different than what I had.
Yeah, you shared you was a little taken when the spend the night thing came up. You like, huh? Because you ain't spend the night over the white kids' house.
No, not me. You know, I was bused as a kid. You know what I'm saying? In Detroit, Detroit was all black when I was coming up.
Man, we don't know what bust mean. These kids 34 years, what is bust?
So I think I was like 1981, they took my neighborhood of kids and took us to a white neighborhood in Detroit and integrated the neighborhood, the schools, and brought them white kids to the black neighborhood. To the elementary school. I can remember all the parents being upset and mad. I can remember the parents getting together saying that they do this and they do that, but it was none of the things that the parents was scared of. You get what I mean? So I went to that school from the second grade and I graduated from there. So I was the start of being in a diverse makeup with Latino folks, with people from the Middle East. We wasn't no Africans then. It was like people from like Saudi Arabia, Lebanon, and stuff like that. And then you had us from like the South and Mississippi, and like here in Detroit, we got some people from Mississippi, but majority of us from like Alabama and got
You
Georgia.
ain't bring none of them people home, man.
No,
Let them taste your mama's sweet potatoes.
You know, you come here, if you come to Detroit, you'll see the blend, you'll see the fusion of it now. You'll see that people from the Middle East, they'll do a fusion of soul food, and all these the Mexicans will do a fusion of the food here. You'll see the what they call amalgamation that's going on when people get things to come together. So like you said, will racism eventually change? I think so, as the generations keep coming. I think us as adults, we take it a little bit harder, but the children will be a little bit.
I don't know that we take it harder. We remember the scars. We remember bottles getting thrown at us.
Right.
We remember being called the N-word openly by somebody feeling a little comfortable.
Yeah, and that's all.
Why I don't use the N-word on my shows, because to me that gives somebody else permission to say that to me. If I don't want to have the jab slap, then I shouldn't serve it up.
Yeah. All them things are still occurring now. You know, like you go down, not that long ago, they drug a man down south somewhere with a chain on the truck. You know, it's all types of
It was at Jasper, Texas, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You don't know about that, Mafia, do you?
No, sir.
Jasper, Texas. They tied a black man to a pickup truck.
Didn't his head come off or something like that?
Yeah, they drugged him and tore him up on the pavement down there, and that was in our lifetime. What I'm saying is that it's for some reason we are good. Our people is good people. You know, this is why we got good spirits. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's some bad spirits amongst us, but collectively we are good people. You know what I'm saying? And I feel that.
Let me tell you what a bad people is. First of all, you done put chains on another human being. And then 200-300 years later, after that, you're going to say, well, we know we did you wrong, and we know we put in some policies to help you catch up, but Trump going to take all of them policies all away, including your museums. And by the way, we're just going to erase slavery totally from the picture. So you won't have to worry about talking about Kunta Kinte no more.
Yeah. That's why it's important for us to tell our stories. You know, that's what they're doing in Florida, in Texas, and stuff with the educational system, putting up these blocks and putting up alternative history, saying that people were slaves because they wanted to work, or some mess like this. You know what I mean? It's not as rash as the truth is. So that's why I'm an adamant, staunch believer in that we got to find our Pacific truths and tell that truth to our kids.
Come on with it, Horace. What you got here?
That's right here, man. That's our glorious Monk's Mound.
And you got a picture of North Millham that looks like a waste management company.
That's exactly what it is. So this is Monk's Mound, what they say is the largest mound pyramid north of Mexico. But like I said, that I'm literally right here, man.
This is
I can get out.
blowing.
Yeah, I can get out and throw a rock and hit Monk's Mound with the rock right now. So I'm literally right here.
So one of the things, and I just got out of class, we were talking about politics. Do our politicians know the sacred value of Monk's Mound?
Some of them do.
And they allow this?
Yeah, because it's well, if they understand, you see the ones that
see when they go getting us to you gotta vote. Makes no difference if you don't if you don't use the politics to address issues like this. What's the point?
Yeah, well, see, they politics have never were never designed to benefit us since they got here. They've always, that's just like I say, the Whig Party or the Whigamores, who are currently parading around today as the Democrats and the Republicans. what we have are two separate groups of older white men that hate us. But one says, you know, hey buddy, how you doing? Drink some of this Jim Jones juice. And the other one say, nigga, just drink this poison.
Is you saying wigs, WHIG, like the
You
wigs and the Tories?
Yep, the Wigamores, the Wig Party. That's all they are, man. It's all an illusion, but they look like sworn enemies when the cameras are rolling. After the cameras go off, they at the Epstein Island, you know, getting busy one time.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
It's just all a part of the system. It all connects to the system. They create the division for us to focus on certain things like racism, like how you say. We didn't
focus on racism, but when you
what I was saying they have us focus on division with things like racism and the education system and the politics. They create the division with these things because
who is they?
I'm saying when I'm
The power
speaking on
structure.
they, I'm saying the power structure of the system of those colonizers who mix with the bloodlines to create the environments that we live in. And we can go to the names from certain slave masters, and we have the names of these people who you can trace the paperwork back to, which families ties this to. Like I say, the both of the
Do you
both
think
families
these people are that smart that they actually are sitting at home with a blackboard and they marking out what bloodlines to come after? Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is it's already systematically done by numbers, because if you get into, they know our astrology, they know the spiritual aspect of what we talking about, because we still talking about it in a literal physical sense, and we dealing with spirituality and higher sciences of life and nature. We're not just dealing with what we see and what the politics is saying and who voting for who, and we dealing with real powerful energy centers that take you to upper echelons of consciousness. And
have you been there?
Absolutely.
You have?
Absolutely.
How you get there?
It's just like how when Martin Luther King say, I've been to the mountaintop. Whatever success that you thought you was going to get over and you thought that was the top and you thought you was going to get to where you was getting to, and you see that it's not what you thought it was. Like a lot of people got in the rap game and they thought the rap game was real and these was real people. But once they got there, they say, oh, no, this ain't what we looking for. Same thing with politics and politicians. They start out from grassroots environments and they for the people. And once they get to that upper echelon, they like, well, this ain't, I can't even do what I thought I wanted to do. This is the systematic aspect that we talking about. But it's not just racism. It's not just religion. It's not just education. It's not just not knowing who we are and our heritage and the truth about slavery and business trades and the Mississippi mounds and the culture.
So give me the solution.
Well, can I intervene? Can I intervene right quick? Well, I want to piggyback off something you said, and I want to quote. This is a two-part statement. The first is my man Black Thought out of Philly when he said it's lonely at the top, but I'm gonna keep climbing because I'm only at the top. The second thing is that, like how the brother Mafia was just saying, all these distractions. Well, one of the main things, if the reason for the distractions is so the people won't realize that there is no money.
Yeah, there's something going on.
That's a loaded statement. What do you mean there is no money?
Well, there never was. It was the assumption that there was money. See, we especially by us being indigenous on this land, and then they setting up these bonds in our name, but having a trust set up to where we are surety and we getting penny pinched and going to work and slaving and all of this other stuff, where like the sister Secrete Balance was telling us that we are rich beyond measure. There shouldn't be any people that's homeless, man. There shouldn't be anybody eating out of garbage cans. You know, there's enough land. Hell, damn near the whole America can fit inside of Texas and still has space left over. But we got this group of people who have some type of inferiority complex that they don't want the level, the playing field to be level. They want to be at the top and everything at everybody else at the bottom. You know, like how Jay-Z said, what's better than 1 billionaire? 2. They don't think like that. You know, so this is what we're dealing with, but all that's coming to an end. And I'm gonna close by saying this is that I think that the language that we speak in the beginning was the word. Well, I try to use words like those who used to have power. Well, this is over with. You know, to speak our future into existence instead of speaking the same things that we have been speaking in regard, because they don't have any more power anymore. You know, they on the way out, or they're already out. It's only a matter of time before we can actually see it. But you know, it's a wrap for them. This is why we're waking up right now. You know, an indigenous people of this planet, and especially Turtle Island, man, it's a wrap for them, man. They gotta go. They've been evicted. Yeah.
That's powerful.
Heavy.
That's powerful. Like I say, a lot of times we aren't as knowledgeable about the history of politics and the political game and where we stood as a indigenous culture and not as political products of that politic. So finding our place and knowing how to govern ourselves, even without a governing body politic. When we had the jab season, we already know we can govern ourselves because everybody had to do that and during the jab season. The period lasted even long before it was curfews or anything of that sort. We had to govern ourselves. It was a lot of entrepreneurs was born in that time. So that we need to continue that revolution that we had from that spiritually and going within and spending time finding these solutions and communicating these things about how we moving forward. And it's different for everybody because there's no one uniform that's one size fit all. It's no one size fit all. That's why it's different, many variations of the same essence that we are looking for.
See,
well said, brother.
There's nature, there's the natural, and then there's the artificial. So one of the things that always caught my eye is when you see asphalt over the ground. And if you live long enough, you'll see the asphalt crack and the ground will come up through there. I ain't never seen the reverse of that. Okay? I ain't never seen asphalt come up out of the ground, okay, and flourish. However, I have seen green grass come up out of the asphalt and flourish. So one thing is for sure, the natural reality over time will always win because this is a natural planet. It's not an artificial planet, right? The reason why I put planet in front of my name is to remind people that we are, in fact, on a planet, right? So the camaraderie that we share here, this thread of invisible love that we have for the benefit of humanity, of which our people are in humanity, we share that with every living thing. Okay? Now, when the colonizers came over here, they weren't grounded in anything spiritual. Right? They had an egoic relationship via religion. So they were confronted with people over here that had a relationship to nature. They weren't seeking the artificial. Okay? They may had a curiosity of it, okay? but they did not put it over the natural. Because they're natural, the earth's natural, their prayers are natural, the sun is natural. I mean, there's enough things that are natural, right? To inform their intelligence that this is the way to be, and they could see it. However, these homies that came over here across the water, they didn't have that, if you will, home training. Okay. Okay. And then what they did have is they had the ability to constantly label everything. Right. So they label everything, right, that ties them back to the artificial. So the question is, do you want to be natural or do you want to be artificial? Right. So there could be a curiosity with false eyelashes, and you may play with the aesthetic or whatever, see how it flows and da 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 da, which is fine. But don't forget that they are fake eyelashes. I mean, come on. Okay? Don't forget that. So, thus, don't forget who you are. You're the natural one. That's what you are. That's how you groove. That's how you flow. You can't go against that, right?
Right.
So
True indeed.
for Martin Luther King, right? There couldn't be a Martin Luther King with that energy, without a Malcolm X. And there couldn't be a Malcolm X with that energy without a Martin Luther King. All right. And together, they rose the frequency so that we all could be here today discussing this.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So love yourself. Love yourself and love the struggle that you have gone through to bring you to this point in time on this planet. That's important.
You know, go ahead, Hannah.
when you were saying about how we got the asphalt and you got the natural and how the grass always come through that asphalt, kind of remind me of that Tupac poem. He wrote a poem called what Rose Through the Concrete or something similar like that. He's talking about his life. And I had I think a English class, and that was one of the assignments, Tupac's poem. You know what I'm saying? We had to decipher that poem. So basically what you were saying is basically how he was explaining that even though all these things are set up against us, the artificialness, these systems and all this stuff, we still gonna be able to grow up out of it. So basically, like what we've been saying, it's nothing to stop us. We just got to keep that in mind, and just like somebody said, we were seeds, and we just got to still keep planting them seeds and putting the water and nourishing it with fertilizing, and we'll grow.
Correct.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Correct.
Hey,
Absolutely.
if you brothers don't mind, I want to read a verse to y'all.
Yes,
Please.
sir.
It says, presently, there is a galactic war and house cleaning that is being completed throughout the universe, which will advance some forms of population 1 intelligence to population 2 star regions, and recycle those forms of population 2 intelligence which have used their knowledge to create operations in the heavens. I think that's a very powerful verse right there, brother.
Absolutely.
So whatever galactic cleansing is going on, is powerful. And I thought of that because our ancestors had a direct connection to the people that were coming from different star systems.
Correct.
So now when we regain this knowledge of ourselves and our connection to this planet, we're going to have those same connections with those same beings as well.
Correct.
And I think that that's what's sort of taking place right now, slowly but surely, because if we give this enemy our consent to do so and so, then we cut off that connection with them. But as long as we don't give them any more consent, now they can't stop those beings from communicating with us, because they don't have our consent anymore to be blockages.
Correct. Correct. So if you were walking around and you were trying to map this land, and you came up with it was Turtle Island, you'd be still walking today to try to make that happen. So clearly, from a perspective that is not land-based, did one see that this is Turtle Island. So that means that we are cosmic beings,
Indeed.
right? So it behooves us to take a higher perspective of what this is about, right? So the proliferation of higher consciousness, right, to leave this artificial relationship to yourself, have a natural relationship to yourself. Okay, you can use the artificial from the natural if you so desire, but I wouldn't go to try to use the artificial as they do to conquer nature for profit, right? That I would stay away from that, because it's not going to last. But when you do not consider yourself an immortal being, then you wouldn't understand what I'm talking about. You'd be trapped in this life and death thing, right? But no native people that I've researched all over the planet feel that. They feel that life is a continuous thread that goes throughout the universe, right? So we got to bring ourselves back to that, because we were the origin of that thought from our observation of what? Of nature. That's who we are. That's what we're supposed to do. That's what we must do, because no one else is doing it. Nobody else is doing it. Think about it. Nobody else is doing it.
That's deep.
Makes sense.
Really
Nobody.
deep.
So when Horace is on the road trip and showing these beautiful mounds and these beautiful ceremonial centers, and you see the magnitude of it, it had to come from a people who was tuned in to a cosmic reality. In order to even intuit a cosmic reality, you have to see the immortality of the soul. You have to. The other
You have to.
the others have used a device called fear to lock you down, so that your only enjoyment can come from what? The artificial, so they
Artificial.
could profit.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's the trick. That's the trick. That is the trick.
You know what I still can't understand to this day, Wells, is that
Mm.
the earth produces enough food for everybody to be obese.
Absolutely.
It's enough land for everybody to live in a $2 million mansion.
Right.
So there's never enough. They say that the earth is overpopulated. How possibly it's more earth than it is people.
Well, one of the benefits that you
mhm.
have had, Horace, is because you travel, you see all the space.
Yeah.
You know, and this whole planet is nothing but land. They got land everywhere.
Land everywhere.
So it's the greed, right?
Yeah, we don't live
Because
too far off the rivers. My bad.
With that greed, that's the impetus of that's the desire, okay, to re-terraform the planet in a artificial case. Why? Because some feel more comfortable in the artificial than the natural. I don't know why this is, but this seems to be the case. Right?
The
So,
program seems to be easier to live in when you don't have the
correct.
knowledge or the access to nature. We don't have the access because we lacking the knowledge. We're not tapping into. And I wanted to ask you, how much of that and what you're talking about is in that silence and that stillness that you always talk about?
All of it.
How much? It's all right there.
All of it's right there. That's why you can see everything of the artificial nature tries to remove you from that connection to that, right?
Yes, sir.
So the universe, God, the energy, whatever, did not go to Walmart to make you, right? Didn't go to Walmart to make you. So how did that come about? Right? It took from itself to make you. So who are you? I mean, let's not trip.
Yeah. And
All
I
right,
think I,
just
I think they give you that in the scriptures too. When they say ye are
absolutely
gods and things of that sort, I think we just give so much power to the outside source that we're not including the self source. You know what I'm saying?
correct.
And it goes together. It's like when they say your left brain and your right brain is like hemi syncing. Once you hemi sync it up, now it's working like a brain, and you're not just thinking with half a brain or
Correct.
another half a brain. But that's the programming to think that you can't be an artist and a lawyer at the same time if you have the equal opposites of that type of mind frame. You know what I'm saying?
So when the homies came here and saw the matriarchs up on the mound doing the dance, doing the ritual, right? Because they had no energy within inside them. They had not uncovered any energy inside themselves, okay, for them to dance on the land to activate the energy.
Right.
So what did they do? They said, "Oh no, that's primitive, that's stupid, that's this and that. You need this artificial thing to be happy. You need to drink this fire water, right?" It's interesting how when you go up in the hood, the one thing you're guaranteed to see is liquor stores and churches, right? So in the times of the mounds, in terms of these temples, in terms of these beautiful places that is dedicated to the sacred, there weren't no liquor stores and there wasn't no churches. Okay.
Yeah, that's what the people don't realize. Yeah.
So we we have to, as we are doing, we are waking up to the truth. We're waking up to the truth.
Gentlemen, I want to share with you something from Craig R. I never heard this story before of Richard Crafers, aka King Dick. Perhaps one of the most interesting and curious stories of the War of 1812, because that's what's been discussed. Part of what is being discussed in the chat is that of Richard Crafus. Richard, an African-American sailor believed to be from Dorchester County, Maryland, was captured from the American privateer Raccoon off of Bordeaux, France in March 1814. Like many prisoners of war during the conflict, he was sent to the infamous Dartmoor prison. He arrived in October 1814, forced to march 17 miles to the gloomy stone prison. There he dominated cell block 4, largely populated by African-American prisoners. He earned the nickname King Dick and became one of the most famous men in the prison. Standing at 6'3", Richard was physically powerful and a masterful bare knuckle boxer. While in prison, he taught fellow prisoners how to wrestle and box. Richard also negotiated with prison authorities and kept order among the prisoners. So I guess my question for, do y'all know how this fits into, I mean, where you going with this? He said he was a sailor. He also said he was a sailor. And I know he was talking about the decline of Black power. And that's a follow-up on Divine, who said, he said a few things. But you guys hit me up in the chat, but I just wanted to share those thoughts.
Yeah, see, that's when you're dealing with that Dorchester County, Somerset. You're dealing with the Eastern Shore down there, the Powhatans, the Powhatan Confederacy, and the Maryland Eastern Shore tribes. You're dealing with the Lenapes. You're dealing with the Susquehannocks, Piscataway, all those tribes down on the Eastern Shore, Dorchester, and Ceases.
Of course, I believe in God. That's the question, Mafia. Do you believe in God or religion?
I don't believe in a religion, but I believe in the Most High, the divine source, the creator, the nature of Earth, Mother Nature, Father Time. These I believe in the essence of what God is.
I believe in the Holy Spirit too. I believe there's a power that we know how to tap into, and maybe it's not called the Holy Spirit, maybe it's something else. But I know that there's something powerful from tapping into God.
Well, when a person asks me in anything in reference to that, I always say that my goddess gave birth to your God, because the mitochondrial was always number one. So the patriarchs,
you view the Black woman as God.
The Black woman is God, the daughter of Tiamat. Their mitochondrial DNA existed before any God that was in the patriarchal or the male form.
Absolutely. That's when we get into, yes, sir.
Yeah, so when we dealing with the term God, there are different translations, generator, operator, destroyer. Some say that it's a German word that means Gomar, Oz, and Dunbar. So those particular terms, we use them in layman, but God has always been the Black woman, the Black female on the planet, as well as in the cosmos in general. So I think that the belief in God and knowing God is two different things, because when you know something, you don't have to believe it. But to piggyback off what the brother Mafia was saying, how it says in the Bible that ye are gods, well, I think that they try to misdirect us by the big G and a little g. But up under the language system, there's only one G, and that's Gamel. There is no uppercase Gamel or lowercase Gamel. So when they say the Lord God and a big uppercase, it's the same thing as what they put in the lowercase English, but there's still one God up under there. And so back to what Wells was saying, God didn't go to Walmart to create you. God took of him or herself, which means that we are God. But that's why they had us to look out in the sky and tell us to follow in somebody's footsteps while they were secretly following in our footsteps.
Okay, let somebody else get in here. What about you, Hannibal?
I believe in one God. Just like all the Muskogees believed in one God, the one who gave breath to all. You know,
I was wondering what this was. D. Rick, I totally agree.
There you go.
Totally agree. I'm gonna let you in on a personal story. There's a song that I learned, you know, growing up in church. Like maybe some of y'all went to church, I don't know. But I have replaced the song say Father, Son, Holy Ghost, and I say Father, Mother, Child.
Yes, sir.
And the Holy Ghost.
Well, you're going against the grain. You're going against the grain when you do that, though.
Oh, I don't. That's what I believe. Nobody else gotta believe it. But I know when I've looked at Christianity from an objective perspective, it just made me ask, why you got the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost? Like, where the woman at?
Those are like three male figures.
You done took the woman totally out of the picture. It's like no life without woman, Mafia. That's just dodoism.
That's that invisible force that Wells was saying as well. You know, they when they talk about chopping the head of Medusa or the beheading of the gods, this is the stripping of the matriarch of the powers and the knowledge of what the matriarch is and how that relates to nature and spirituality and what we know to be God.
Well, you know, a lot of people don't know that the high priest matriarchs used to be up at Niagara Falls meditating and controlling the harmony of the planet. And so when they invaded
that Niagara Falls water come all the way through New York and keep on coming down, don't it?
Yeah. Yep.
Like
up
that
there.
Mississippi.
Yeah, and see, but they according to the story that they chopped those sisters' heads off and threw them over into the falls. That's where they came up the word Niagara, which is a derivative of nigger or Negro.
Well, now I gotta throw it out there because I happen to be listening to the song. Kendrick say Negus. So I done heard a couple different stories on the etymology of the N-word.
Yeah, that's Negus. It's king of kings, and sovereign.
I gotta throw this in there. Craig was referring to when he was talking about King Dick here. He was talking about a business that was happening. He was talking about, hold on. Black Jack Anderson was a Black American pirate. But as he's talking about Richard Crayfus here, he was saying that they were all involved in the whaling industry. Because in the article, it talks about all of these African Americans locked up in a French prison. But they were over there making money. And that's how they got hemmed up. So thank you.
So were they transported here, or they were there voluntarily making money?
Let's see at the bottom of the story. He came back to Boston.
So I think that's the hijack because it wasn't blacks or African American. It was the Pequot Indians that was into the whaling.
Forgive my.
I'm just talking about. I'm just talking about not you. I'm just talking about how we take the title they give us and put it on top. But when you look at history, it was the Pequot, Pequot. They right there in Rhode Island, and they was really into whaling. So this guy, when they had the ships and he must have got caught, he was a Pequot.
There was more going on. Oh, okay. Nantucket.
Yeah.
So you talking about the guy Verrazano when you talk about, you know, the guy got the Verrazano Bridge in Brooklyn over there. He was an explorer that came there. He said that they was just black Indians. You read his journals. He said that they had he called them Egyptians. That's what he called them. Instead of Negroes or black, he called them Egyptians and stuff like that. So you can find that information from the French and Verrazano. So you go back into these old records through the French, the Spanish, you'll find out that it was nothing what they said but Black Indians here. And it's just like we're saying the hijack. I'm thinking that it's really deeper when we come to these 5 nations. You know what I'm saying? These civilized quote unquote nations like the Cherokee. I think that's a hijack nation. You get what I mean? But I come with the proof later.
But that was perfect though to see, because that's how it is with your family name when you're looking up your genealogy. We got to do that with every aspect of history to compare analysis as to what history is, to what we program.
And like you say, that last name, that Anderson, look up that Anderson last name with the Nansemond Indians or free people of color. The Andersons, the Mitchells, the Chavezes, this is all groups of families that are known to be Native American. So, so when you go look up the Andersons in Virginia and Maryland, you know what I'm saying? They natives. They the natives from the tribes in Virginia that Walter Plecker changed. You get what I mean? So it's the information is there. We just got to be able to decipher it and put it all together.
So let me just share what it says about Black Jack Anderson. This again is from Craig R. John Black Jack Anderson, and thank you for the history lesson. Died in 1837. Was an African-American sealer and pirate active in the Recherche Archipelago off the south coast of Western Australia. So he was a pirate all the way on the other side of the world. Anderson arrived in Western Australia's archipelago on the cutter Mountaineer in 1835 from Kangaroo Island in what was to become South Australia, setting up base on Middle Island. Now, mind you, they were the quote-unquote Aborigines there. Anderson and his fellows established an encampment on Middle Island, and it was one of the few islands with a source of fresh water. The archipelago was heavily populated by Australian sea lions and New Zealand fur seals. I'm not sure where we're going with all of this. One of the most daring people was a man of color named Anderson, and lawless as these men were, they looked up to him with a sort of dread. So, Craig, make it all make sense. We didn't took time to go into that. I'll return it back to you, gentlemen.
Well, like what was our last guest name? The brother from Baltimore,
Mr. Avon Bellow.
He made a very powerful statement when he said that they literally have to create an entire system to destroy us. That's powerful, man. You got an entire system. I'm talking about from every angle, man, just to get at us. So who are we, man?
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? That you got to create a system to try to remove us from the equation, but we still resilient enough to still be here and still moving forward. But it's something more to us than meet the eye, and I really would be glad when we find out, because I think that we literally be able to walk on water, fly through the air, raise the dead, heal people, the things that that they said that all of these other people of some of these so-called holy books were able to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Craig was saying that there were black sailors on both coasts. The Carolina coast had a lot of sailors. Craig, let me just put the link in here because you telling bits and pieces of the story, and I want to make sure you. And so there was a comment in the chat saying that we black people. I don't know if I shared with you, but there were some people that were getting jiggy in the chat. And yeah, I went on and blocked them. I got Mafia Shakur's approval. He said if they don't come correct, get rid of them.
Yeah.
I think, he said something about that 1812. And the only thing I could think about is like 1813 and 14. And that's when Andrew Jackson went into the South. And that's the biggest dispossession of black wealth ever. They have you noticed they never talk about the natives in the Southeast. They talk about everybody else, but they never talk about the ones in the Southeast because that's where the money is at. That's where the legacy is at. That's where the end result is at. That's what I've been trying to tell the people I talk to about this, is that they ain't telling it because you'll start seeing who the players were, who, you know what I'm saying, what people was coming up under, what false flags and false identities they had. So
right, it's the mirror. It's the mirror. I think you always show the mirror to the history, like you say. Sometimes we gotta decode it, but sometimes we gotta show the mirror to the history of where it parallel. Like, you know, just like how what's Shakespeare, the history of how it parallel. Like what's Shakespeare name is Sir William Bacon. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't know how to look at these people from their two different aspects, you won't be able to see the full picture.
Well, just like looking at a rapper, they got a pseudonym name. You know what I mean? Saying I'm Jay-Z, but he's Sean Carter. I get what you mean.
Exactly.
Like, you know, yeah.
Now, we don't block people who disagree with us. Please disagree.
Another name,
respectful.
Another name with that Anderson name that just popped in my head was Bass. I know I've seen that name pop in the comments. BASS. Now that name, you follow that name from Virginia, you're gonna have a lot of luck. You follow Bass, the Bass family, the Harris family, the Gibson families, it's so many of them, you know. So them three right there shed a light on a lot of information that we searching for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes you got to search other people's family to find your history. So don't be so stuck up on.
Yeah, because a lot of families got mixed up.
Right. You see
my grandfather was adopted.
Right. And like just like you said that right there, that just changed the whole dynamic of the surnames. You can follow that name forever and don't have nothing to do with you. You get what I mean? It just might maybe something that you put in your head. But I think we're on the right path with dropping, you know, when our audience say something and everybody dropping their point of view on things, and we'll right this ship one way or another. Another thing was on my mind when Planet Wells was saying about the universe, we all cosmic. I heard like people having these near-death experiences and saying that they see nothing but black and like things like stars, like being out of space. So that basically saying that we are the universe, you know what I'm saying? We are watching and we've been watching, you know what I'm saying? But it's just that now we're trying to learn. And I think maybe we probably don't get it all, but maybe the future generations have had this superpower that we conjuring up now.
Hold that thought. We got Craig in the chat. Hey, Craig, how you doing?
Very good. How you doing?
Good.
Awesome.
Bring it on, man. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for always.
Good. I made a feedback here. Hold on to see. How do I solve that?
Okay, bring it on, big brother.
Good. Yeah, so I'm just in the chat, enjoying what you guys are doing. And just want to share some knowledge with you guys. So there's a feedback. How do I stop that?
Do you have your computer on to the show? Because you want to disconnect from the live feed and just stay.
Okay, perfect. Good. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I was speaking of the sailing culture because I've done a lot of studies on. I'm from Jamaica.
Well, tell us
I've done a lot
about yourself. We see you in the chat all the time. Tell us who you are.
So I'm from Jamaica. I've been pretty good. I'm good. So I love history, and I just say the last 5 years I started looking into it, and what I've found is like amazing. My background is like science, and so I kind of use different methods to kind of break open, this veil. So I just want to share what I found. So what I saw that happen, it was a real war that happened, a real war, and North America was a power, great power. And the power got collapsed like around 1812 was the decline. And I can show you how I determined that using something called Google Ngram. If you can look in, I can show you how I did that. But it was like a war, like a tremendous war from like in the 1600s. right? Because they were trading at first, but then they start attacking, the entire Americas. They start attacking in Brazil, done a lot of work in Brazil, in the islands, but North America was the last kind of power to collapse, you know? And that was like around 1812. So this is why I brought up Richard, because those guys were fighting. There was a real war, you see? So what happened now? Like after every war, there is like a re-education. So for example, in World War II, after the war with the Nazis, there's something called denazification. That's basically re-education. Same thing that happened with Iraq. The Ba'athist Party in Iraq after the war, they call de-Baathification. Same thing in Japan. So what's happening to Black America is pretty normal. When you lose a war, they're going to re-educate you into total different paradigm, which is wrong.
So
But I mean, I'll go ahead.
So how do we apply that to today? In other words,
Um,
so what? So now that we know that, so what?
No, but we have to know. The first thing we have to do is know and understand. From my perspective, we have to know how they did it, because we have to say, how do we get here? How we got here? How did we get to this point when we don't remember anything? That's not magic. That's tactics. They use certain tactics, and once you can recognize the tactics that they're using, it won't work anymore. Because once we see what they're doing, they can't do it. You know.
Right.
Yeah, it's like someone like playing hide and seek, and you're saying, "Hey, I see where you're hiding," and you just get out. What happened is it take us 15 years or 100 years to figure out what they did, and that's too late. We have to be able to predict the next move and intercept it before it happens. We can't like our kids 50 years from now figuring out what they did 50 years ago.
So
We
Craig,
keep reacting.
what do you think of this show?
This show is amazing. It's awesome. I love it. Um, I mean, I don't mind joining sometimes. I really don't want to be on the camera. But what I can tell you is what I've discovered coming from Jamaica. Most of the people in the Americas are related. The people in the islands, the people especially in the South of the Americas, language-wise, culture-wise. I wish we could like get more into that stuff. I'm not telling you what to do, but more into the shared culture, because what they will never tell you is that we have a lot of shared cultures with the islands and the other parts in America. They try to tell us about
Very true.
Africa this, Africa that, which I've looked into it and I haven't found much that was shared with especially West Africa. Um, so I think that's a good angle to get into it. For example, in the South, the ginger beer is very, very popular, what it used to be amongst Black Americans. In Jamaica, it's a very popular drink. It was once very popular. There's a lot of culture we have together. Barbecue in the South, Jamaica, we call it jerk. But barbecue, that's American Indian, right? Hominy, that's basically corn. Corn in Jamaica, if you Google hominy right now, Jamaica is the first thing will pop up. We still do it. So a lot of these native foods and culture is still around. But what they do is that they reframe it so we don't notice it. Think of it this way. Say you have, I'm using a bad example. Say you have drugs in the car, right? Like a powder. I've never seen it before, but a powder substance. And a cop pull you over, and you can't get rid of it right away. So you reframe it and say, hey, this is not this is powder. I need it for something else. You reframe it. Um, Meanwhile, you get to hide it. Right? You reframe it, distract, and then you get rid of the evidence. So what they're doing, we have so much culture and richness, and all the evidence is in front of us, but they reframe it so we don't look at it, and we're not thinking about it that way. If that makes any sense.
Oh, you make
Makes
a lot of
complete sense. Make a lot of sense.
See, so that's why, for example, English is native to the Americas. English is indigenous to the Americas. Now, I said that my background is in science, so I'm not reading books to tell you that. I'm using scientific methods and probability to determine that,
Okay.
right? So when you think about it, Jamaica, we speak. the patois, but patois is basically English, right? But
Right.
patois is not standard English. Um, the best way to explain it, say you have weights and measurements, right? A pound. Um, we started out not standardized. So a pound in New York could be a pound and a quarter in New Jersey, could be a pound and an eighth in Florida. And say you have a president or a governor say, hey, we want 1 pound. We're going to standardize this, take the average, and this is the pound from now on, right? When you look at the islands, they all have this language, this indigenous language that we all speak. Patois is my first language, not standardized English. So what they did is that they came over here, they want to colonize us. They took the language, standardized it, and told us they gave it to us.
Hmm.
How do you know that? I actually did a Google map and I counted all the areas that had this language, still have this language. So Trinidad, Guyana, Jamaica,
Mhm.
parts of Dominican Republic had this language. Grenada, all these islands had it. The South had it. In the Gullah people still have it, and a lot of the parts in the South. And this is the same language. The Seminole. If you Google right now, if you Google Afro Seminole, Google Afro Seminole English, it will show you something, and Wikipedia will tell you that is related to the Jamaican language. Now, the Seminole were conquered very late, like around. They were not even conquered. It was the U.S. spent a lot of money trying to conquer them. They weren't conquered. But that war ended like around very late, like around 1849, somewhere around there, right?
Mhm.
So how did the Seminole ended up with this language that's similar to the Jamaican language when they were not colonized? You see that?
Yeah.
Say you take a bunch of African tribes, speak Wolof and Yoruba and all different languages. This is math now. This is math. You take a bunch of Yoruba, say 50,000, or different mixed African tribes, speak multiple different languages. You bring them to Jamaica. Accident happened and they came up with Jamaican patois. You bring them to Trinidad, the same accident happened and come up with a patois. You bring them to Belize, the same accident happened and come up with patois. Because I can go to any island and we can understand each other. No interpreter needed. The language is, a matter of fact, it's the largest zone in the world with a mutually intelligible language, meaning that we can all understand each other without much difficulty,
So
right? So you go to Belize,
to answer
go
your
ahead.
question, Craig, it says Afro Seminole Creole is an English-based Creole language that emerged from the Gullah Geechee dialect spoken by the Black Seminoles, a community of formerly enslaved people and their descendants. It is a subdialect of Gullah that developed in Florida and is now spoken in areas of Oklahoma, Texas, and Mexico. The language is named Afro Seminole because it was spoken by people allied with the Seminole Nation in Florida. They mentioned South Carolina, Georgia. I don't see Jamaica though.
No, if you go to Wikipedia, it shows you the family of languages.
Let me change that. It says similar
Go to
to
Wikipedia.
similar. No, this is Wikipedia. Similar to well, actually, well, let's give you the Wikipedia since you.
Click on the link. Click on the link and scroll down. It will show you where the languages are related. It show your family. Maybe there. See, it's still there.
Yeah.
They show you. There was a video there with a woman speaking it, and she sounds just like Jamaican. I understand what she's saying. Um, okay, look up Samana English. Samana English. The Samana are the people who went from the Carolinas to DR.
What's the word?
So Samana, Samana, Samana English. And you can find some really good documentary on short documentaries on interviews on YouTube of the old Samana people telling you about the American sailing culture that they brought to DR. They spoke about it. Um, you see, so you see how I tell you that is related to the African Nova Scotian English. So the entire like East Coast have this language. from Nova Scotia all the way to Guyana in South America.
And your point is the commonalities among us.
Yes. That is not taught in school. There's no course you can take in school about the shared history of the Black people in the Americas.
Hmm.
You just totally skip over that.
That's deep, brother. That's really deep.
You brought
Yeah,
it,
that's
bro.
powerful. I think that's where the
Absolutely.
confusion come in, because we thinking that we was coming from Africa or going to Africa. They was taking our serious warriors over to the islands. They taking them off of the mainland because this what they wanted the mainland. So they thinking they isolating them over there in the islands for the mainland.
Right.
In
So
order
what?
to, yeah, I'm listening.
Yes. Go ahead. Yeah. So what they did, because what I did, you see, so my background is engineering, so I know I know what I have to do to know something. Because that's what engineering is. What do I have to do to know what I need to know? You see, so I study the environment and see what in the environment will tell me that story. So what I did, I looked at for the Black Americans, well, not only North Americans, the Caribbean people that they sent to Liberia, not only Liberia, a whole lot of countries in West Africa, uh, Sierra Leone, Liberia, Gambia, a whole bunch of places. And I studied the language that they brought there. And there's elders you can still find there now in Sierra Leone that speak. They just leave Jamaica. They speak the same way today, and I can understand every word they're saying.
Mm.
See that? So
Mm.
this is our language that left um, from here. You know, because in linguistics you'll call it a language isolate. You know, say because when they leave Jamaica or North America and they go to Sierra Leone, they're in a new population now, and so they're not getting any new Jamaican input or a new North American input. So that whatever they left with is stuck over there in a frozen state. This only could be affected by the languages around it, like the African languages. See that?
Mhm.
So these people, when they speak, they're speaking with a language that's left the Americas 200 years ago. You see that? And so that's really good.
I actually can fathom that, because we have been under the mindset that we don't really think about language. We don't associate us with the foundation of language when we are absolutely the ones who were the foundation of language. And even if you're talking about Europe, we know the first Europeans were melanated.
Right. Which I can get into also. But because I was never in this space. But when I started discovering these things, that's when I discovered a language at first. That's when I started looking and said, who else knows this? And that's when I discovered podcast, because he made a statement. He said that English is from the Americas. He didn't develop that topic, but he just said that because he said it has to be.
Who can prove it wrong?
So I've studied the linguists and how they came up with. I have a Jamaican dictionary written in the 1960s. I've studied the linguistics,
I mean,
and
English
I can.
is a bastard language by definition.
So the standard English is not an authentic. It's a manufactured language. It's made up like in a lab. It's not an organic language. Standard English is a standardized. I was talking about the weights and measurements. You standardize something and say, this is the way we're going to spell this word. This is the way we're going to pronounce it. They took the words and standardized. For example, the word governor, we said governor. That was the African American Jamaican word, because they had governors. I spoke about maybe a chat back, 2 chats back, the black governors of New England. If you look them up, there were like 32 of them. There was one I visited on the campus of Yale. There's a governor, Lanson. His name is Lanson. There's a statue of him on the campus of Yale in the back, right? If you visit the cemeteries in New Canaan, Connecticut, I've been there. It shows you where the governors are buried. They're buried in there. At least one or two of them I've seen. This is place I'm not talking about internet. I've visited these places just to see for myself, right? So they had black governors in New England and in the American South. In New England, because the conquest happened from north, from Canada downwards. America wasn't conquered from Florida up. It conquered from north to south. You see? And so the governors collapsed earlier in the north than in the south. In the south, it collapsed when they told about Reconstruction and we were sorry for the blacks, so we put some blacks to office. That's a lie. Those people were always governors. That's when they took it over. Remember, I talk about the powder, but you reframe it. You want the cops to look away. You toss it. So you reframe it. So what they did was they reframe the what was there and say, Reconstruction made it, but it's not true. That is not true. You're looking at the indigenous system that lasted up until the 1870s in the South. You see that? So what they
Absolutely.
did, now is that they created this Freeman's Bureau, and it's called, I put in the chat, it's called the Freeman's Bureau of Refugees and Abandoned Lands. The abandoned lands part is very important because they're going to get you to abandon your land now, and they're going to claim it with a white immigration into the Americas. And they tell you now that, and they start taking on black names. There's no white person named Jackson or Washington. They start taking on these names to claim the estate because the plantation is Washington estate. They claim it. You see that?
Yeah, no,
It's
that's yeah, that it makes sense. Like I think, like I say, the misconception of the Africa concept, it leads us to further create the separation from South America to North America to the islands as one. You know what I'm saying? And
right.
By being able to pinpoint certain war efforts and tribal movements that you can see from being on the lower aspect of the tier, we understanding that the Iroquois and all the colonizers is coming from the north on down, like how you saying, pushing towards that way from the earlier wars in the 1600s that put everybody grouped on the line. That's why the Haitian Revolution, things of that sort, was so strong, because it was a war. All the warriors was over there.
Right.
I want to
Right.
read something right here, brother.
Yeah.
It says that that man, there will be a consciousness reprogramming on this planet in the region originally identified with Atlantis.
Yes.
Man will receive their central reprogramming in the original land of the Ancient of Days. This is the sacred land of the West, which is the region of the original grids used by the masters.
Yes, sir. Return of the
Yes.
Matriarch.
I agree, because for me, and I look at Topcast to one of them guys where you can see he's like getting like a download. It's just not just being smart. It's like a divine inspiration. You know,
Yeah.
people like that are special, and you just like, for me, I just get information. Well, besides my training, I can just see what they did. It's not very difficult to see it. What they did also, and let me get a little bit into slavery, and this may be controversial, but don't believe most things you hear about slavery. They develop a narrative. So when I want to lie to you, if I want to lie to stick, let's think about the anatomy of propaganda, right? If I want to make an effective propaganda, I have to make it such that it's repeatable. So if I tell you something, and then I tell you something, I whisper in your ear at your job, and you just forget about it because it wasn't memorable. That's not a good That's not a good propaganda. It's not crafted really well. It should be crafted in such a way where you're excited to repeat it. You understand?
Yes, sir.
And
Hey,
so,
okay.
and
Hey, listen, brother Craig, we gonna have to cut it short because we running up on the 2 hour mark here.
yes,
So we appreciate your input, man. It was very helpful, man, in our quest, man, and we welcome you back, man, anytime.
Yeah,
You see
yeah,
what
sure.
I'm saying?
Yes,
Yeah, we running up on the 2 hour
absolutely.
mark, so I think that we got a few things. I know I gotta get to moving. So I'm gonna pass it to Mafia, for now, man. But man, we appreciate you, brother, man, and
Absolutely.
man, we appreciate you, brother. Yeah, because I'm gonna most definitely look into that. And yeah, yes, sir. I'm gonna pass it to Mafia Shakur.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Like I say, I think it's important that we just see the connection between the lanes. We have a concern of if we disassociate with Africa, then where are our allies? Who do we align with? And we already know who we align with. We already still mixed together as one. It's just the knowledge of knowing who we are that's going to continue the story.
I think that for the most part, the ones who we could probably count on the most would be Haiti.
Mm.
Yeah, he made a good point about the travel between the islands and quote unquote North America. I know that us or people that's in South Carolina got a real close connection to those from the Bahamas because the Bahamas is right there. Bahamas is not far at all. Bahamas is right off the little southeast of little South Carolina. So I agree. Then even with the Jamaicans, I know the Jamaicans got a lot of history over in there in Mexico because they used to go to Mexico and trade food. They got basically the same kind of food ways if you pay attention. But I see where you're coming from. Some things I didn't agree with, but some of the gist of them traveling up north and coming down, I agree with that coast. Because that's the way to get around here is to travel up that coast and up back and
Right.
forth that coast. So I dig that.
No, that's a fact. Yeah. So, did you wanted to chime in on anything, Planet Wells?
Well, I think it's a great show, and I love the fact that the brother called in. I like that, communication and going back and forth with Horace and getting it tighter and tighter. Sharing information.
Yes,
Is
sir.
is very very important for what we're doing,
Yes,
and
sir.
I love it. And brother from Jamaica, I'd like to see it worldwide. Everybody, who's got something to contribute, for them to know that this is an open forum for that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Hmm.
Absolutely. Boss, did you want to run the libations for us?
Yes, sir, brother. And I want to say, before I run the libations, that verse I just read about
Hmm.
our reprogramming will come from the region that's associated with Atlantis.
Mhm.
Yes, sir.
The land of the original grids was the sacred land of the West. Man, that's powerful, brother. That's really powerful.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
Absolutely.
let me get these libations up. I'm going to give honor to the Prophet Noble Ali, the great Queen Neitha of Chicago's, the most
Yes, sir.
honorable Empress for Diocese, uh,
Yes, sir.
Chief Redbird, Chief Warhorse, Dr. Francis
Sure.
C. Welsing, Dr. Arikana, Sister Shahrazad Ali, Ashada Shakur, Angela Davis, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, uh, Malcolm Malik El Shabazz, Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, Dr. Delbert Blair, the Honorable Dr. Claude Anderson, and the Honorable Taj Tariq Bey, and Dr. G, Mama T, Sister Vicky Diller, Sister Myra, Dr. Joy DeGroove, Patrice Lumumba, Professor PLO Lumumba, the late great C. Freeman Hill, Dr. Martin Luther King, Jay Guevara, the Honorable Dr. Malachi Z. York, Omali Yashatila, Julius Malema, President Ibrahim Traore, and the newest addition to the list is Barbecue of Haiti, the beloved brother Bobby Hemmett, the Reverend Phil Valentine, Fred Hampton, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Professor James Small, Anthony T. Browder, the sister on the YouTube that goes by the name of LaChris, Anthony T. Browder, Rod Hayes, Steve Coakley, Billy Carson, 19 Keys, Dane Calloway, Karimo Ahua, Riza Islam, the legendary Top Cat, the late great Dr. Sebi, the late great Leila O Africa, Yaki Awakening, King Randall, the beloved brother Doni Glover for providing us with this platform to reach our people, the Honorable Planet Wells, the beloved brother Hannibal James, the young, wise, and intelligent brother Mafia Shakur, and to all of our viewers who are 100% on our team in this monumental indigenous movement here on Turtle Island without any questions asked whatsoever. I say.
Force leader forth, I say.
Appreciate that, my
Forward.
brothers.
Forward.
Wow, time flies, man.
Yeah,
When
that was
you're having fun, man.
Yeah, it's 2 hours. Nice conversation, guys. I loved it.
And everybody is welcome, but yeah, we ain't tolerating none of that disrespect. Mafia told me I ain't gotta tolerate none of that.
Yeah,
None of that.
we're not accepting that.
Planet, you get the last word, man.
Okay. Well, a great show. Great show.
Happy birthday, Professor Smalls.
Yeah, happy
Happy
birthday,
birthday.
Professor Small.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
So this stillness that I refer to, right? It doesn't matter what religion you are. Okay. This is just a natural thing. Okay. Okay. To invite yourself to yourself. Right. This is not spookism or nothing like that. Okay. It just behooves you because we understand that this artificial frequency wants to take you away from yourself. I think we all can agree to that. So there was a question about belief in God and this, that, and the other. To me, that's the given in the equation. Okay. So, but it's a given that leads to a question, which is how can you become closer to that source? All right. So by being still, you invite that answer to come to you. You don't need anybody. You don't need a reverend. You don't need a pastor. You don't need an imam. Okay. That's the beauty of the source, what it has given to you. Okay. So just for a second, just right now, it only take, just close your eyes and watch your breath. See, you did it. It's very easy. It's very easy. So from time to time, you just increase that a little bit every day. And a gift from the universe will come to you.
Man, I see cats standing on the corner doing nothing all day, man. I want to see some cats get to work, Jack.
No,
Hey, I want to say shout out to.
Hold on. This is the hardest work.
Mm-hmm.
Ask the boys on the corner to be still for a minute. See how hard it is.
They there like 10 hours, bro. They still.
No, they ain't still. They ain't the still that I'm talking about, and you know that.
Okay.
Well, if they wouldn't have had if they wouldn't have destroyed Black Wall Street, them brothers would have something to do. I want to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out to Sister Brenda Bennett, as well as Sister Secrete Balance as well.
Yeah.
Well, what happened to Sister Bennett? I haven't seen her in a whole like several hours.
I don't know, man. That's a good question.
Well, we miss Sister Brenda. We hope she tunes on back in. We hope that you like and subscribe to the show. Mafia, tell them who you are, how they can get in touch with you.
Mafia Shakur. I'm on all streaming platforms. You can email me at 410mshakur@gmail.com.
Planet Wells, how can people get in touch with you, sir?
They can get in touch with me through Mafia Shakur.
Good enough. Hannibal James, how can they reach you, sir?
You can get me at Hannibal, the number 5 at gmail.com.
Okay, Dog Star Network on YouTube.
Yeah, Horace Lee the Fourth, Dog Star Network. Check me out. You can also reach me at adldavis19@gmail.com.
I ask that we all try to be nice to somebody. Try to say some please and thank you and you're welcome. And, you know, somebody hold a door for you, say thank you. Don't cost you nothing. Mafia Shakur, we appreciate your leadership. You getting there. You getting there. We got to put you back in drill camp. You got to run that point, man.
Yes, sir.
He's doing it.
They were talking about you in the chat. Like, come on, Craig.
Oh, yeah. I know.
Chop, chop.
I got it.
But we appreciate, man. Shout out to the people in the chat, too. Yvette Pierre, Jason gave us a lot of love tonight.
What's up, Jason Wright?
Yes,
Yeah.
Jason Jackson Wright, yes. He gave me a new way of looking at the word religion, read legion. D. Rickman giving us love all evening.
Dope.
Can y'all tell me who Professor Smalls is? I don't know.
Professor James Smalls.
James Smalls.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He one of the early scholars as far as in Kemet and understanding what the Ankh symbol was before the cross and the history of that. And
He took over Malcolm X, his organization.
I don't know about you. Did y'all learn anything new tonight?
Absolutely.
Always.
Always.
I learned how to watch my breath.
Absolutely.
Lord
Absolutely.
Ed, Devil Doc, got some Baltimore cats in the house too. Got your homeboys up here. Be blessed. Thank you for the love. We appreciate it. We ain't for no. They said don't let the North Avenue come out of you. Huh?
Where's the other sister that Mama or Ma something?
Divine Rights, they gave us love all night.
Oh yeah, Divine Rights, yeah, for sure.
Appreciate the love.
Absolutely.
Good deal. Gentlemen, we're getting out of here. We'll be back Thursday night at 8 o'clock. Thank you for your patience. We start on Tuesday nights because I'm in class. And Mafia be running.
Yeah, I was running behind today.
Got me jumping out of class. I gotta go and apologize. Shella Lump, thank you. Man, Shella Lump, listen, thank you for the support. The advertisers below, but every, we appreciate everything. Thank you, Shella Lump.
Absolutely.
I wish I knew your real name, but thank you, Shella Lump. Thank you for the love. Thank you. Yvette Pierre, again, Mississippians,
for sure.
Got that
for sure.
Ibrahim Traore up there, Burkina Faso. Let me plug my book. We got some business events going on, but that's my latest book, Black Blueprint, available on Barnes & Noble and Amazon. Baltimore to Burkina Faso. I know a lot of people may not identify with Ibrahim Traore, but that's him right there. He the baddest cat moving in Africa right now. They tried to kill him about 20 times. And a lot of times the enemy look just like us. That's probably I gotta share this with you. My daddy been gone 20 years. He said, big ups, Professor Bay, thank you. He said the first ones you need to be getting mad at because he believed in the slavery story were those greedy African kings who sold you over here. That was his whole line, because he never let me buy into racism or hatred. Like, if you're gonna start pointing the finger, make sure you know who you pointing the finger at and why.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you another story. There's a black funeral director. My daddy was a funeral director. There was another funeral director, Mr. William C. March. And he in Baltimore, he was big time empire, funeral home empire. But he was very fair skinned.
Mm-hmm.
If you looked at him, you would have thought he was a white man. So they had their little undertakers meeting. I say little. They had their funeral directors board meeting, and Mr. March was there. And I said, Daddy, is he black? And he said he more N-word than you. That's what my daddy said. So we got to be careful how we, you know, our array, we got very, very light and very, very dark and everything in between. And all are welcome. And others are welcome if they come with respect. If you come over here and try to give me a blanket with smallpox in it,
We ain't accepting that.
good
Shout
luck with
out,
that.
shout out to Night Crave.
Night Crave, yes.
Yeah.
And you know what, Donnie, before we go, I think
Come on with it, big bro.
that we're a different class of elders than the elders that preceded us.
Inshallah.
Inshallah, for sure.
Blessings.
But we got a beautiful family, and it's all across the country, man. Detroit, Chicago, Baltimore, New York, Hawaii, right here on this show.
Yes,
So
sir.
shout out to the people down south. My granddad was from South Carolina on my daddy's side. Orangeburg, South Carolina. Shell, if you put one more plug in for Top Cats, I mean, I think she's doing some marketing for Top Cats because she done mentioned them but a good 200 times. We love legendary Top Cats, Shell.
Absolutely. That's our partner.
He's trying to tell people to tune in. He's live now. But I appreciate you brothers, man. Thank y'all for giving me space about the Gullah teachings. He talked about it the last time on the show a bit.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Absolutely.
Peace and love, everybody. Good night.
Good.
Peace, brothers.
Hannibal.
Yes, sir.
So